what, like, especially for a beginning photographer who wants to make a living as a photographer, with your knowledge, what do you think would be the best use of their time to get there, to become self-sufficient on photography? You know?
If you asked me what was the best way for a beginner to sort of move towards a career in photography, I would really suggest attending workshop programs that were designed for beginners, not necessarily what I do with the Palm Springs Photo Festival, because what we do, our curriculum is really about professional photographers and people that are a lot more serious advanced amateurs. But going into programs where you can get basic hands-on experience with somebody present. You know, you start out by learning things on with your programs on YouTube as an example. That stimulates you, and you get a camera in your hands and you go out and start doing things. But I think the accessibility of workshop programs or seminars and things in your area, or travel to those places, that's important, because there you really get to interact with somebody that could help you physically. I mean, seriously, you may take a class with somebody and they may see something in your work that merits investing a little bit of their time and energy in helping you, and this is the kind of thing that happens. If you're more advanced, if you've gotten where the technical aspects of photography are under your belt and you're looking at how can I express myself, what way do I want to see, how do I want to show people my world, then our program is one of the most creatively inspiring events that you could attend. I'm not saying that because I direct it. I'm saying that because the combination of things that we offer is designed to keep you at the highest level of stimulation from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day. That's pretty intense. You go home with your head in the clouds. All you want to do is get your hands on your cameras and go out and start working. But hopefully you have a direction once you've been with us for a week. You now know what you want to do, or you have a good sense of it. So that's the big thing. We try to provide clarity. When you're first starting out, I mean, I think you need to take the idea of the technique seriously. More so now than ever, I guess, because in my day, pardon me, technique was the physical aspects of managing a camera was f-stop, shutter speeds, and ISO, which was relatively easy enough to understand initially. Whereas now you're starting to look at all kinds of computer terms that you need to know in order to make digital photographs. You have to understand buffers and downloads, and you need to know what to import them into and how to export them into different files and changing sizes. And, I mean, this is all much more technically complex, and yet at the same time we are all as a population learning these kinds of things in our daily life. We're backing up our iPhones, we're downloading our Blackberries, we're doing these kinds of things anyway, so maybe this is somewhat familiar territory. But the technique is important. Once you have some technique under your belt, that each time you perfect a technique or you understand what makes that technique work, you're able to incorporate those ideas into a way of taking a picture. That's where you start making pictures up here, and making pictures up here is the beginning. So I equate that to an elevator coming up. You're starting out in the basement, you don't know anything about anything. Someone hands you a camera, you dig the camera, you want to make pictures, it's cool. You start learning how to use it, and then when you get to the first floor, you have a certain base under your belt. So now you understand what depth of field does, what shutter speeds do, the effects of ISO, high ISO, low ISO, grain, no grain, noise, no noise, this kind of stuff. So now you know, when I take a picture today, I'm gonna make sure I have a grainy picture, I'm gonna use a shallow depth of field, I'm gonna use this lens, I'm gonna use this kind of light, I'm gonna make this kind of picture. So now you're starting to have a certain set of parameters that you need to be able to think about photography. And then I think by the time you get to the second floor, there are images in your head that you want to make, and now you have the tools to know how to make them. You say to yourself, I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to photograph this way. I see this person, I'm going to light them this way, I'm going to use this kind of, I want to have shallow depth of field, I want to shoot this way or that way. Now you have all these tools at your disposal because you've already tried and true, you've worked through them. The third floor is when you start to have the real epiphany, though. The epiphany there is, what do you want to say? It's a whole other concept. It's not about the cameras, it's not about the technique, because this stuff now you can forget all about it. It's inherent in what you do. You think about that internally, but you don't even have to focus on it. It's much more about what do you want to say. And the photographers that we know and respect, whose work is really special in our lives, these are people that have had that epiphany, that knew what they wanted to say, and they knew how they wanted to say it, and they were able to do it succinctly. And And that's the third floor, that's the top floor. You know, the penthouse, if you will, are the masters that are, you know, that have unbelievable original vision, and nothing can stop them. But there are few and far between those. But the third floor is where you want to be. You want to have your own voice, find your own point of view, and find out what you want to say. So start in the basement, learn your technique, build your way up to where you realize that now it's time to start making a statement. How's that? Yeah, but that is important, because if you talk to beginners, they got to know where they're going. Like, why am I doing this? I dig this, okay, but now I really like this. So now, what's the point of this? How can this help me? What is this going to mean in my life, and this kind of thing? So you have to start looking. You know, okay, if I get to this point, I'll be doing this. When I get to there, then I can start to imagine, you know, these kinds of things. Because it depends on how old you are too. I have to say that, you know, it really depends. I mean, the people that are studying your programs, they could be predominantly people from 18 to 24, or you might have a bunch of retired people. You might have people in their 70s and 60s that always loved photography and never had time for it. Now they do, or whatever. So, you know, a lot depends on your age, where you are in life. You know, because if you're already 50 and you really want to have a career in photography, the best thing is to try to get to the third floor really quick. Starting at the third floor and move right up, because, you know, the time is an issue. I've noticed, as an example, that, you know, older people, they have a different perspective on life. Younger people, the time is unlimited ahead of them. Every day is a long day. You know, when you get really much older, every day is a really short day. And you're always aware that you have X number of short days left. And I don't mean that, you know, I mean, I'm talking about people maybe that never consider that, but some do. I mean, when you start to be 60, 70 years old, there's a different agility. You're generally not as agile. You also don't have as much energy. You might not like to sleep in other than your own bed at night. You know, you may not want to travel more than an hour a day in a car. I mean, there's a million things that I notice about really much older people. So all of that changes. And what do I say to those people when they ask me, so what should I do? I'm much older, you know, I don't have the time to build a career, but I really love doing this. I say, look in your own backyard. The most important work people can do, a lot of times, is right in front of them. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to be, you know, off to Asia to do some documentary nonsense. You could be doing this in your own house. Do what you know. Photograph your wife, photograph your cat, who knows? But it's really an intimate experience when it's about your world. So I tell older people, you know, focus much more on what's around you. Younger people can say, yeah, I want to go do India, I want to like help poverty in, you know, Asia, whatever. That's not something a guy 65 is going to jump out and do. So, you know, there's a continuum. Depends on where you are in that continuum. You know, photography is a really great career to get in young, because it can definitely sustain you for a lifetime. You know, I don't know, you know, unlike, say, plumbing, or maybe, you know, becoming, you know, I don't know, there's a million careers that are probably lucrative and wonderful, but do you really want to do these until your last breath? Probably not, you know. I mean, this is something you can do to your last breath. Yep. Keeps you alive, too. A lot of old guys banging around shooting great work. You know, it's an unusual career, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't break you down physically.
No.
Of course you.
And you're not put out to pasture at 55 involuntarily. There's no reason that you can't have exhibitions and traveling around doing amazing stuff into your 70s and even beyond if you have the juice, if you still got the energy, you know. Yeah. It's all about you, but you can photograph. I mean, one thing I've noticed about really old photographers is they've all started to concentrate on things around their own homes when they're pretty much done jumping around the world. And I mean, Steichen did that, and Kertész did that, and all these people. You know, Kertész did this famous series of pictures of just what was going on out his window in Union Square in New York City. That are wonderful pictures. And Steichen started photographing these trees out in front of his house, year by year by year. These are like interesting works. You know, Stieglitz was photographing clouds from his home. You know, you don't have to go anywhere. Really quite interesting stuff right around you. A really old photographer once made a comment to me that I've never forgotten. He said, and he was a French guy, so this is his name was Willie Ronan. It's one of my heroes, and a great guy. Said to me, there are days when you don't get anything when you go out looking for photographs. He said, and it's not because there was nothing happening, it's because you weren't capable of seeing that day. And that made a lasting impression on me, because when you're dialed in, and when you're capable, there's stuff to photograph everywhere you are and every day of your life. It's true. It's an amazing phenomenon. And then there are days when you go out thinking, I'm going to take pictures, you come back with a bunch of nothing. Didn't happen. You weren't capable of seeing that day. So what state of mind do you need to be in to be able to see that day? Interesting question.